Let's get it. Prez is fired up. Let's get it. Let's go, mama. We're inside today because they're actually doing some upgrades to our building. So they're working right outside of our balcony. They're high up too. So we're gonna do it inside today. Roxy is joining me. I always like when Roxy's here for Triple M. So let's make that more common. So you guys, today we're gonna be learning from a guy. Never heard from him on Triple M. We recently got introduced to him through One Church LA. It's a church in LA, but then they also do online, so we still watch him online. He did a guest speech there, and his name is Devon Franklin. He's in the entertainment industry. He is married to Megan Good, if you know who Megan Good is, and he has a few books out. He's helped direct things like Karate Kid. He has a new movie coming out, like really, really successful in his career, but I really love the way he speaks, his messages, and his passion he brings to it. So his name is Devon Franklin. He's going to be bringing his 10 rules for success, and make sure you got your notebook, or maybe you're going to do it on your phone like Roxy's going to do. You know, some people are just funny. They don't want to, you know. But whatever you do, get the nuggets. That's all that matters. And put some nuggets in the chat thread. Put your name and where you're from in the chat thread too. And let's get to it and be as excited as Prez is. So without further ado, let's get into Devon Franklin's top 10 rules for success. And make sure you're putting in your team thread, your client thread, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Snapchat, your MySpace. I don't know what you do, but share it with everybody. Let's get it. Top 10 rules for success.
Hold in my hand chocolate chips. Chocolate chip cookies, right? Now, what's interesting is this is just an example of when you go to any supermarket, there is a whole aisle dedicated to chocolate chip cookies. You can get whatever flavor or ever style you want, but what dawned on me is that you mean to tell me there's a whole aisle of the same product. So as I sat there looking at the aisle, I said, how is it possible in almost every supermarket in the country there can be an aisle dedicated to the same product? As I began to think about it, I said, it might be the same chocolate chip, but what differentiates one brand from another? The recipe. May I submit for your consideration, these chocolate chip cookies represent success. We all have been destined to be successful, but each one of us has a different recipe that God will use to create success. What I know is that Keebler ain't trying to steal Mrs. Fields' recipe, because Keebler does what they do, Mrs. Fields do what they do, and they both can sell millions of cookies every single year. Why? Because they're committed to their recipe. They believe that their recipe is the best, and as a result, they still find success. You don't see on the package of Mrs. Fields, we taste just like Keebler's. No! Mrs. Fields is Mrs. Fields. Keebler's is Mrs. Keebler's. And Chips Ahoy is Chips Ahoy. Oh, your difference is your destiny. You have a recipe for your success. So why are you over there trying to steal your neighbor's recipe? Why don't you start cooking up what God gave you? Start mixing up your ingredients, and know that if your neighbor can find space on the aisle of the world for success, that God has some shelf space for you too. I only got one life. This is not a dress rehearsal. Can I remind you of that? You don't get a chance to do this life over again. This is the show. You're waiting to perform. The performance is now. So if you don't live out your truth, if you don't embrace your difference, will you be able to look back and say whatever you shortchanged your difference for, it was worth it?
All right.
Whoever you shortchanged your difference for, were they worth it? So So often we become a limited version of ourselves just to be accepted by somebody who then goes on to move on to somebody else. And there we are left with the damage of having compromised ourselves for their love and acceptance. And they just said, no, no, and they're on to somebody else. And we're still left healing from a situation we should have never been in to begin with. Stay in your notes, Devon. I just need to tell you right now, please do not want love so badly you compromise who you are to get it. If somebody you're dating cannot handle the fullness of your purpose and your calling and your personality, why don't you go ahead and drop them right now? Please drop them. Cut it off. Cut it off. Why? Because all you're doing is wasting your time and their time. Be who you're created to be. And if they cannot handle that, God bless them. Go ahead and buy them a bag of cookies and say, I'll see you on the other side. But I cannot allow myself to be subject to your limited thinking. I'm bigger than your capacity to handle who I am. Who am I talking to right now? Your difference is your destiny.
And so here I am, an 18-year-old, young man, got into the University of Southern California. I go in for my first internship interview at the management company that manages Will Smith. I'm literally about to get my foot in the door. And at the end of the interview, the lady says, Devon, is there anything else you want us to know? And right there, God is speaking in my ear. He said, tell her about the Sabbath. Now, you must understand something. As a Christian, I grew up observing Sabbath. So Friday night sundown through Saturday night sundown, I don't work. It's the day that I take off for observance, rest, and restoration. And I'm there in the internship interview, about to get my foot in the door of Hollywood, and God says, tell her about the Sabbath. I said, Lord, after I get the internship, I'll tell her all about the Sabbath. You know how we are. We love to get what we want, and then we'll start moving the pieces around about what we can and cannot do. But after a moment of silence, I said, well, I cannot take this internship if it requires me to work on the Sabbath. And it was quiet, just like it is now. And after a moment of silence, she said, Devon, don't worry, we can work around that. What that taught me in that moment is that it's not about just the door of opportunity opening in your scene. It's about how you walk through the door. Because every door that opens that does not allow you to fit your faith in who you are, I argue it is not a door to go through. You have to understand that when you are walking in your path and you are walking in the movie of your life, the scenes in your life will conform around you if you have enough faith to be exactly who God created you to be. I don't buy into this idea that you have to compromise who you are, compromise what you believe. As a matter of fact, be even more bold in who you are, more bold in who you believe, because you are the hero of your own story. And if you don't believe your story, guess what? Ain't nobody else going to.
What would you say is the biggest lesson you learned from that intern experience, those 4 years?
It's something that I knew already. Again, growing up in the church, one of the things that was instilled in us, my uncle was the pastor, was all about service. All about service. I mean, we would go into the community, we'd pass out food, we'd pass out flyers. We would get to the church at 8 o'clock on Sabbath morning and not leave till 8 o'clock at night. Wow. So getting to be an intern, that training and service was the key to my success. Because as an intern, no one came to me every day and said, here's your assignment. I had to go find work to do. Right. I had to go, say, hey, can I fax that for you? Can I file that for you? Remember coffee orders, go get dry cleaning, but also do it with excellence. Do it like it was important, because sometimes those tasks we don't want. We want the office, we want the job, we want the title, we want the money. We don't want to do the entry level stuff. Yeah. And sometimes, people that I've even hired and interns that I've worked with, they don't have any excellence in that work because they think they're above it. But when you put excellence on that and you service it and you say, hey, this is as important as the job I want, people see that. So for me, it was applying service. How can I make everyone's job here better? And not just the principals, but the assistants as well, the support staff, because if you don't have a relationship with the support staff, you're not going to have a good relationship with the principals. And so that was my one lesson that I really learned, is that service is king. And that service is the key to your ascension. And I can tell you that lesson just keeps replaying itself at every level, just in different ways.
People don't believe that they're good enough. Yeah. They don't believe they have what it takes. But when you embrace who you are and not worry about fitting in anybody's box.
Yeah. Well, they don't believe they have what it takes. I think a lot of people don't believe they have what it takes because they're comparing themselves to everybody else instead of looking at themselves.
I tell people, stay in your own movie. We're over here looking at other people's movie, and you have no idea. You look at someone else's movie, and in one scene, it looks like they're on the top. But you have no idea what's getting ready to happen in that next scene. So you stay in your movie, you focus on your scene, you become the best that you can be, and you'll be surprised at how great your own story works out.
Continue to refine and develop your own script.
Absolutely. And your own character.
I love that. I'm going to start using that. Stay in your own movie.
That's right.
Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity. And there are some translations that say making the most of your time because the days are evil. So let me submit for your consideration that when we were born, we both were given two things: talent and time. Talent and time. Talent and time. Turn to your neighbor on your right and say, you got some talent. Turn to your neighbor on the left, but say, do you have the time? Oh, I want to talk to somebody right now, because see, one of these two things is a limited resource. The other is an unlimited resource. Your talent is unlimited. I need you to know this, that what you have within you, what God put within you, is unlimited, all right? That people, you think, here's the thing, some of you think that people have stolen things from you and kept opportunities from you. Let me tell you something, that God has more than what that they tried to take from you, because there's more talent in you than they even realize. They think they stole one idea, but you got a million more. They think they took what was from you, but God said, what I put in you can create again. So don't worry about not having enough talent. You got that. But the limited resource is the time. I wish I could tell you you had more time than you do. This is why God wanted me to come here today and hopefully inspire and motivate you to reclaim your time. Reclaim that which is yours to begin with. At the end of your life, at the end of my life, God is going to ask me, what did you do with the time that I gave you? I'm gonna come sit next to you. Watch this, watch this. So often,
what's a super easy way to tell that your bed is awful? The raw egg test. Let me prove it.
Can't even get through my message because there's something I know I have not done. And God, in his grace and his mercy, keeps sending an alarm in our spirit saying, my son and my daughter, I need you to be obedient. I need you to get it right in this season. I need you to stop procrastinating in this season. And so the alarm keeps going off. And some of us, because we're not ready, we say, oh, I'll answer it tomorrow. Do you realize that procrastination is like playing Russian roulette with your destiny? You think you have more time than you do, so you go ahead and delay what's supposed to be done today to a time that may never materialize, and then we wonder why we're not happy, because we're not productive in doing what he called us to do. I don't know who I'm talking to right now, but God said it is time to reclaim your time. We all have the same amount of time in a day. Now, how much time do we have in this life? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how much time you have left. I don't know how much time I got left. But guess what? I don't worry about what I don't know. I worry about what I do know. He woke me up this morning. He started me on this way. And if he woke me up, that means he financed my gift for today, so I better get busy. Turn to your neighbor and say, you better get busy. You better get busy. You better get busy.
Growing up in a Christian home, in a Christian environment, I had this dream that maybe one day I could go to Hollywood and work in entertainment. Now, that was not a very faith-friendly dream, because Hollywood still is today, by many people, viewed as Sodom and Gomorrah, as the devil's playground. Many people said, well, if you want, to live out your faith, Devon, don't go to Hollywood. Don't do it. You're going to lose your faith. It's going to corrupt you. There's no way you can be about God and be in that industry. And so here I was as a young person having a dream, a vision, a call from God, but having the conflict that those that are around me don't see the call the way that I see it. So I had a choice. Do I stay within the lane that they have ordained? Or do I have enough faith to go after the lane that God had ordained? And that was a leap, and that was a challenge, and that was a conflict that I think all of us face.
What you say in the book is that development begins when you have the first vision of what you can be, correct?
Exactly. You can't write a movie unless you know what the movie's supposed to be about. That's what development is. Sometimes we get so frustrated in our lives, but we have to go back and say, wait a minute, do I understand what the big idea of my life is supposed to be? If my life is a story, then I have to know the point of my story. And sometimes what happens when we start developing a movie, the producers may have one vision of what the movie's supposed to be, and the studio has another version, and then the movie becomes nothing because there's not clarity of idea. So with our life, we have to have clarity of what we're supposed to do. What do we believe we're called to do in this life? And in that way, it gives our whole development process more shape.
My mother still is a disciplinarian. And she, you know, from we were young, I mean, from 3 and 4 years old, I mean, having to do chores and vacuum and wash dishes and take out the trash and keep our room clean and all of those things that at the time I hated, I value so much now. Because they gave me a foundation that really helped me navigate, organize, lead, manage. So, you know, that discipline was something that she really instilled in us. And I think a lot of the success I've been able to have comes from her. Yeah. And her, you know, saying, look, I'm not going to let you guys just go and be wild. Right. Say that's just how boys do it.
As a studio executive, one of the things I do is I develop scripts into movies. But there are some scripts that we develop for a very long time and it never looks like it's going to get made. And we call this period of time development hell. Some of you have been in development hell because you had an idea for your life. And you've been trying and you've been pushing to allow that idea to get into production. But you seem so far away from it that you don't know what you're going to do. And in this moment, in development hell, it is so tempting to give up on the very idea that brought you this far. You must realize that in development hell, when you're going through a time where you're about to give up on yourself, give up on your God, give up on your friends, give up on your dreams and your beliefs, this is the time when you have to go back to the original idea that motivated your life and hold on to it and don't give up. Because you know why? Because it is just like a scene of a movie. There are some good scenes, there are some bad scenes, but if you keep walking forward, guess what? The hero always wins. And you know what makes the story good? The conflict the hero faces. So when you go through bad scenes, that must mean you are getting ready to be prepared to be victorious. You must know that a bad scene with conflict is not meant to take you down, but it's meant to actually bring out the hero in you and build you up.
So how do you define success?
You have to define success. One, I define success as peace. Do you like?
Me too. You're my kind of guy.
That's right. That's right.
There's nothing without that.
No.
Okay, go ahead. I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
Who looks back at you in the mirror? Do you like that person?
Are you at peace with that?
Are you at peace with that person? Are you content?
Yeah.
That is the foundation of success. You can be the most famous person in the world and not have peace. And
Don't we know a few of them?
We do.
Yeah.
We do. And I would argue you're not successful. You know, we cannot allow external forces to tell us we are success. When you are fulfilled by what you do, you are fulfilled when you get up in the morning. You know, so many times we wake up in the morning, we're depressed, we're down, we're angry, we're frustrated. But when you can wake up saying, I'm glad to be alive. There is purpose to this day. To me, that is success. And I would argue that you have that internal success. Then externally, it's just a manifestation of what happens internally in the best possible way.
Major nuggets. Man, that was a really good one. My man Devon broke down nuggets. All right, so let's get into some takeaways. Rox, what you got for us?
All right, what's up, guys? So for me, I really loved, I try to say love and like at the same time. The very first one, I liked how he talked about embracing your uniqueness and never apologizing for who you are. I think that's so important because for me, for instance, when I was growing up, it was like I had to be like different with this person. I had to be different with this person. I had to be different with this aunt, with this mom, like with mom, and all of this. Like it's like playing all these different characters, but really not embracing who you truly are. And for me, that's been like one of the biggest things that I've learned throughout my life is to be me, and those who are going to love me, they're going to love me, and those who don't, like, well, you don't, but I don't care because I'm going to be me. And the only way to really be inside of that, and when you're inside of that, then it allows you to be your most authentic self, and therefore like play out your life the way that you want to play it out. So I really love that one. And then the next one is going to be, I like when he was talking about staying in your own lane, which was, he was talking about a movie. And a lot of the times too, as we're going towards our goals, we can look left and right and see people. And like he said, like, you never know, like, what the picture that may be painted. You never know what people are really going through. And if they're just making it seem like they're just doing all these amazing things, like, you just never know. But the biggest thing that you can do and you can know is where you're going, and staying inside of your own, like, lane, inside of your own movie, inside of your own purpose, and keep continuously working on yourself, and really knowing that if there is a bad scene that's from a different point, like, all the bad scenes are really what makes the victories in any movie. So those are my takeaways.
Nuggets. Good to see you on, boo. Even when you take notes on your phone, it's all right. So a couple of my takeaways are, number one, you got talent and you got time, but they're not both unlimited. And I really like that, because I do believe we're infinitely talented, meaning that if you put enough time into anything, that you can get better at it. But what's crucial is that we don't have infinite time. And I really love the question he asked. He said, you know, when you get to the end of your life and God were to ask you, Creator were to ask you, or the universe were to ask you, whatever you believe in, what did you do with the time I gave you? And I think that's such a crucial question. A lot of people, even Roxy looks at me weird. She calls me a human doing, not a human being. She's like, you always want to do, you always want to be going somewhere. And I tell her it's because I actually enjoy doing things. I feel like time is our only thing we never get a refund on, and I want to make the most of it. Like, I'm 32 years old now. I feel like I've lived lifetimes. I remember when I was in high school. I remember when I was in college. I remember grad school. I remember times I moved to different cities. We're in Miami now. I want to live all over the world, travel all over the world. And it's like, I feel like you can live multiple lifetimes if you take every day as an opportunity to adventure, explore, and grow. There's no need to ever throw away a day. And I feel like if you throw away a day, you're throwing away the only value you've really got that's never going to come back. All the other things you can get back, but you can never get back time. You can never get back those experiences. And that's really what you're here to do. You're here to experience and grow. And your currency is time. And the difference between your life is how you spend it. So I really like that one. The next one is self-discipline. He talked about how his mom would make him do things, and at the time he hated it, but now he loves it looking back. And I feel like I've seen so many people who stopped growing after high school and after they got 18 because nobody was making them do things anymore. And because they looked at discipline like things that were outside of them that they didn't like to do, that didn't benefit them. And if you look back, if you never had anybody instilling discipline in you, you probably wouldn't brush your teeth. You probably wouldn't take a shower. You probably wouldn't eat any nutritious foods. You probably wouldn't cut your hair. You probably wouldn't learn anything. What kind of life do you think you would live? Who would want to kick it with somebody smelly, stinky, bad breath, hair all over the place, and don't know how to really talk? So all these things that we used to hate, now we love. You probably hated doing cursive writing and English and how to write essays and how to type and how to do all this stuff. I hated it. I was like, what the heck is the point of all this stuff? But now I'm pretty sure you're happy that you can type to your friends, text to your friends, speak and make a conversation, build a relationship with somebody, have the skills to be able to create the income you want. So you love the fruit, but not the root. You love what it produces, but you don't like what it took to get there. And that's what I get, a little confused about people when I talk about continuous learning. It's like, okay, that was then, you learned those things, but it's time to keep learning. It's time to keep growing to get new and better fruit. So that discipline that was instilled upon you, the people who go to the next level are the people that then take that discipline on themselves. That say, okay, you know what? I'm 20 years old. I'm 25. I'm 30. I'm 32. I'm 40. Whatever age you are, it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to come and make you do these things anymore. Nobody's going to make you work on yourself. Nobody's going to make you get your finances right. Nobody's going to make you build your skills so you're, valuable to the marketplace. Nobody's going to make you work on your personal skills so you're better at relationships. Nobody's going to come and make you do that. But those are the things that make your life better. So guess what? Now it's got to go from mom and dad made me do it, or grandma made me do it, or the school made me do it, to I made me do it. I decided to pick up that book. I decided to jump on Triple M. I decided to attend that seminar. I decided to watch that, documentary or whatever it is. That self-discipline that got you to where you're at right now is going to take you where you want to go. And then the last one is don't give up. I love how he said, you guys, every single movie, think about it, there's always a tough part. Have you ever watched any movie where it was just fun and rainbows the whole time? You wouldn't even make it to the end. There's always a challenging part where they don't know, and the evil person, or it seems down and out. That's what makes the triumph possible. So if you can take that on for your own life, know that the hero always wins, but the hero's got to get tested to become the hero. So if you're going through some challenges, you guys, the fourth quarter is winter. If you're here in North America, or, I don't know where you're tuning in from. Maybe it's summer where you're at, but you're going to go through a winter. Know that the winter's got to come before the spring, and the hero always wins. If you're living the story of the hero gets beat up all the time and never wins, that's a terrible story to live. Don't live that story. Don't be in that movie. Be in the movie where the hero always wins. And tell yourself that, because when you tell yourself that, you'll do the things it takes to come out on top on the end. Never give up. It's fourth quarter, but it doesn't matter, you guys. There is 34 days left in 2017. The heroes always train. The heroes always win. So fired up. Man, my man broke down nuggets for us. All right, give me a thumbs up or a smile if you're excited to share. And I'm going to read some from the chat bar, too. Keep throwing in your name and where you're from. And if you can't share live, throw in there so we can read from there. Give me a thumbs up or a smile if you're excited to share. Everybody's getting the nuggets digested. I'm looking for somebody ready to share. All right, let's get it. Anna, what you got for us?
Hey guys, Anna from Wisconsin. So I really liked the stay in your own movie one. I get caught up sometimes with a lot of comparison, and it really just brings me down. So staying in your own lane, focusing on yourself, getting results for yourself, doing things for yourself no matter what, and don't let anybody change you for that. And then also taking a leap towards your dreams. So I'm in school right now. I'm a college student, and I've been in the education field a little bit, and I don't know, I'm on the fence of do I want to teach, do I not? And I'm an Herbalife coach myself, and really I don't know if that's my purpose in life, is teaching, and I love to inspire others and stuff like that. And I do have a lot of vision and a lot of dreams that I want to live out. And those around you might not see your vision, but you just got to go with it. And, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And if it does work out, awesome. But you just got to take risks and see where it'll take you. So awesome. Good.
Love that. Great stuff. Live your own movie, because your movie is produced the way it's produced. And I love when he said, you might be looking at somebody else in that scene, but you don't know what's coming in the next scene. Because remember, everybody's going to have their scenes of tough, of challenge, of down and out, but you might be mistaking their triumphant scene and your tough scene for being the same scene, and they're not. So I love that. Let's get 1 to 2 more shares. Give me a thumbs up or a smile if you're excited to share. While I'm looking for somebody, I'm going to read one from the thing. We got people from all over. Jay Flex said bars. I like that one. That was a good one. Give me a thumbs up or smile. Let's get it. Ashley Ann, what you got for us?
Great morning, everyone. Happy Monday. So my takeaway for this one was have a vision. So what he said kind of hit me straight to the heart. It says, have clarity of what you've been called to be in this life. What do you want for your life? What do you want for your future? How do you see yourself? How do you speak to yourself? And how do you want to continue in that life? So when you step into that, write down your goals, do whatever you got to do. So recently I've really been honing in, what do I really want? And every single day I'm getting 1% better in being in that life, walking in that life and writing down what I want so that way I can go after it. So definitely have that vision, have that clarity, and just know what you want and go after it with all your heart. Don't worry about what other people are telling you or ordained in your life. Don't have other people ordain your life for you. Figure out what you want and go after that.
Love it. Absolutely. You can't live your life based on the opinions of others, because you got to realize, you guys, everybody has an opinion, but their opinion was based on the reality they saw, which doesn't mean that has to be your reality. There's people that used to think that, put it like this, that working out was weird. You know, people used to think that if you worked out, you were weird. You know, there was something wrong with you. Girls would get too bulky. Guys might have been, you know, weirdos. They used to think that. But now you look outside and there's a gym on every corner. Why? The reality is different now. But what make the benefits different in between the times? Nothing was different in the benefits. It's just some people had an idea. What about, you know, living where you want to live, speaking different languages, being a partner, you know, with somebody from a different culture, wearing certain clothes? It doesn't matter. There was a time when people thought a 9-to-5 and working for the same company for 30 years was the only way to be successful. Who do you know that does that anymore? So don't mistake other people's opinion of reality for what actually reality is and what your journey is. Because how could any person tell you what your journey is? Because they didn't create you. They didn't, you know, they're not laying out your path. They're not your director. They're not your producer. So what you listen to them like that for? They're a production assistant. So a production assistant is somebody that's just on the thing to get like coffee and stuff. Remember when he was talking about the intern that gets the coffee and does the dry cleaning? You're listening to a production assistant like they're the producer and director directing the scenes in your movie. Don't do that, because they have an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody. But it doesn't mean that it's your truth. So I love that. Great stuff. Quick takeaway from Selena Ibarra. Don't give up when in development hell. That was a good point. Get back to your original idea. Remember why you started. I'm so fired up. 34 days till 2018. You guys, it's about to be on fire. Can't wait. You guys share the recording. Post about your takeaway. Invite people every single Monday. We're growing every single week. And I get so fired up to see all the faces, you guys. I'm going to take y'all off mute. Where's the energy at?
Happy Monday.
All right, you guys have a great Monday.
I don't know.
Peace.
So